Hello and welcome to EV Car Share. So another journey, well, another day, another journey. This time it's St Helens. So I'm going from Peterborough to St Helens. I'm currently sat just outside Starbucks, just off the A1 near Stamford, just short of Stamford. I've started journeys here before. I don't like to start from home. I prefer to start from somewhere else, which I think is understandable. So when I left home, the car said it had 325 miles in the battery, 330 if I turned off the aircon, but I don't drive that way. I've got the aircon on. I guess because it's kind of ambient temperature around 15, 16 degrees, the aircon doesn't have to work much to get up to temperature or keep things around the temperature I'm after. So that's why it's only a 5 mile difference. The journey, according to the sat nav, is 151 miles. So if I go there and come back, that is 304 miles. So we're really pushing the kind of, will it do that range? Especially as I'm planning on doing my motorway miles at motorway speeds. So I will be doing the speed limit all the way, no matter what road I'm on. So 70 on the motorways, 60 on the other roads, obviously 50 or 40 if other roads dictate that as well, around town and so on. So that's the plan for today. See whether or not I can get over 300 out of the car, travelling at the full pace of the roads and following the route the sat nav tells me to. So that's the plan. So let's get this journey on the road. Okay, I just want to show kind of leaving this service area because they have now updated the charge point. So this charge point was an old one. You can probably see it coming into view now. It was an old one, they've now updated it. Still only a 50 kilowatt, but at least now it should be one that's functional, whereas before it had stopped working or had been taken off the network or something. It's not a big service area, just a Starbucks and a petrol station, and of course that one charge point for EV drivers. So it's a nice day today, nice and sunny, a few little clouds in the sky, 14 degrees as I say. This is my Kia EV6 for anybody who's not familiar with my car. I've had it 18 months. It has done 39,376 miles now. So going well. If the 330 miles that was predicted at the beginning, 100% on the car, is anything to go by, then it's certainly not losing significant battery capacity in that first year and a half, 40,000 miles sort of usage. We will see how it goes in future. I mean, if you listen to the negative views out there, then it will be all a nightmare, and within 5-6 years it won't be worth using. If you listen to some of the positive views out there, then it'll be 20 years and 500,000 miles and still be going strong. Obviously those are the two extreme views. Nobody really knows, especially not for my specific car. And that's part of what this is all about. Let's share the journeys, let's share the experiences, and we'll find out exactly what happens long term with this car. But for today, onwards to St Helens. down the A50, so cut through from the A1 past the M1 onto the A50. Car has been doing on average 4 miles per kilowatt hour for the journey so far, and completed 60 miles, and the car says it has 254 miles remaining in the battery, so we're still on for 315 miles total, which will cover the 304-ish that I need to complete the journey. The sat nav for this first half of the journey going to St Helens is telling me I'll arrive with 44%, so it's still not quite confident enough to give me 50+% for my first half, which of course is what I need in order to know that I'll be able to go back in the other 50%. So that's still a bit pessimistic. Current battery percentage is 83%, and I've just passed some services there. There are charge points at those services, which obviously I don't need. If anybody thinks there are not enough charge points around, then I think they really need to look around and see them, because you're just driving around with your eyes closed, or you're just not looking or something, because they really are everywhere. But there we go. So it's looking currently like I probably will make it, but I have just completed a section where I'm cutting across country on slower roads where the efficiency will be higher. I've now got a section where I can travel at 70, which is what I'm doing at the moment, where the efficiency will be lower. So it's still give or take, I think, as to whether I will make it back home again this evening without needing to charge. Obviously I'll make it home this evening, I'll pop in and charge if I need to, just for 5-10 minutes or whatever I need to add an extra 5 or 10 kilowatt hours. Little splash and dash, or volt and bolt as is the phrase, and all will be good. But it'll be interesting to see whether I need to do that or not. That's the interesting thing. Well, interesting to me, maybe not interesting to you. It depends on your level of interest in electric cars and that sort of stuff, I guess. So hey, there we go. Carry on the journey. And now we're into Stoke, so passing through Stoke, through one of the tunnels at the moment, or maybe it's just the tunnel. I think the others aren't tunnels. There's lots of bridges along here, but I don't think they're all tunnels. Traffic, as you'd expect on a Monday morning, it's quite busy. Journey so far has been good overall. And the car sat-nav has become a little bit more optimistic as we've got closer to St Helens, as I thought it would. It's now telling us we will get there with 47% battery remaining. Still not over 50, so still would require us to recharge on the way back, according to its prediction. However, the car display, the dashboard says I have 213 miles remaining of range in the battery, and I'm currently 55 miles from destination. So I take off that 55 miles, that still leaves me more than 150 for the return journey, and it will see me doing greater than 300 for the day. I've done 95 so far, so 95 plus 213, yeah, it gives me around probably around 307, 308 in total. So it'll be tight if I go that way, if I go for it on the way home. But it looks like it's doable, and as I say, I've been driving to speed limits. I've not been hypermiling. If I was hypermiling, yes, I could definitely do it, no problem at all. I think I can get kind of 330, 340. I'd stick into kind of 60 mile an hour on the motorways. This section's a 50 mile an hour speed limit, by the way. So, although there are cars going past me and they're going over the speed limit, I'm sticking to it. Well, actually, I'm going a little bit over at times, but shh, don't tell anybody. Only a tiny bit. So let's carry on the journey. So a little bit busy this morning, carrying on Monday morning traffic. So on the M6 now, about 15 miles from the M62 turn off to Liverpool. I've done 120 miles so far, battery's down to 63%. Car says I have 188 miles remaining in the battery, averaging 4 miles per kilowatt hour, and the distance to destination is now 26 miles, just over, and the car thinks I will get there and I will have 51% battery remaining when I get there. That could still go up a little bit more. It's been going up all morning. I've been travelling at the speed limits wherever possible, so I've not been hypermiling or anything, but the car does tend to be pessimistic when you begin the journey and then up the value as you drive. One thing I have noticed, slight mistake in my calculations, if I add together my distance to go and my distance I've done, so I've done 121 miles now, and I've got just over 25 remaining, 26-ish, so it ends up with 147 miles one way. And of course I was rounding that up to 150 and talking about, can I do 300 miles on the battery? Now I've realised that 147 is only going to give me a return journey of 294, so I will be short of the 300. Not because I haven't tried it, not because the car can't do it, but just because that is the geographical distance from Peterborough to St Helens, and I won't need to go any further than that. So I will probably make the 294, and we'll see how many miles are left, predicted miles left in the battery at the end, and see whether we could have done the 300. Of course, as I've always said, this is a a channel where I'm doing journeys that are real life journeys, not ones that are made up just for the sake of YouTube. So that's what you get, I'm afraid. Hello and welcome to the journey home. So I've been to St Helens. I'm just leaving St Helens at the moment. This is just a mile or so in. The sat nav tells me that I have 148 miles to complete to get home. I've done 147 today, so around the same as you expect. The car also predicts that I have 154 in the battery, so 148 to do, 154 in the battery. That's leaving me 6 miles, so it'd be very close if that's reality. I probably wouldn't want to run it down to the last 6 miles. That seems to be extreme. SatNav did ask me, do I want to schedule a stop when I told it I'm going home? I said no. At this point in the journey, I'm going to leave that as no. And we'll see what happens. Maybe I can get home without charging. Maybe I'll need to charge. Right, so onto the M6 on the way back. Busy traffic. I think if the traffic remains like this all the way home, then yeah, I'll be home late, but I'll have plenty of miles left in the battery. At the moment, things have extended out. We are it's kind of ping-ponging between 7 and 8 miles to spare. So we've gone from 6 to about 7 or 8. Maybe later on in the journey it will be more, maybe it'll be less, who knows. Okay, so an update on the journey and the predicted miles and things like that. I'm down to 38% in the battery. I'm off the M6 at Stoke-on-Trent now. I'm on the A500. Going around Stoke before I join the A50. Car says I have 105 miles left to go, and it says I have 107 miles sorry, in the battery, so just 2 miles of difference. It started for 6 miles of difference, so over the past 43 miles I've done, 4 miles has been dropped. So about 10% then, which this is the most energy draining section. So going along the M6 and this dual carriageway into Stoke. I think it's uphill as well, so motorway miles and it's uphill. So I probably will gain back some the other side of Stoke, particularly when I start cutting across the country from the M1 to the A1. But will it be enough? And while I'm driving this section, will I lose even more? That's the question. Now, a while back there, when I decided to turn video back on, I was down to 1 difference. And now, while I've been talking, it's gone back out to 3 difference. So you can see it's kind of on the edge. It's will it, won't it, will it, won't it? Obviously, it's just working on predictions, estimated range based on previous style of driving, temperature conditions and so on. I have the aircon on. I said at the beginning of this test, this drive, I was going to use the aircon just all the time. I do that generally anyway. It's on 20 degrees, auto climate. But it's a little bit cool today. So currently 15 degrees out there. It's a little bit cold. Get slightly more efficiency if it was up at proper summer temperatures. If it was 20 to 25 degrees would be perfect. So that's where we stand. We will see whether or not I have to recharge or whether I can get home without recharging. I won't get home, obviously. Getting home is an issue. It's just whether or not I have to recharge on a public charger or whether I can make it home all the way to my own charger or not. Okay, so an update on the journey. We are now just, if you can see this big sign on the left, that might give you info, but we are just getting to the end of the A50. So this is where the M1 joins the A50, or the A50 joins the M1 more likely, and it's where I then start cutting across the country to get across to the A1. So this is kind of the end of this section of high-speed dual carriageway roads, and having come downhill from Stoke to this point, I have gained some additional gap between miles to do and miles in the battery. So the battery, according to the car, has 68 miles remaining, and my sat nav says I need to do 59. So I have 9 to play with now, whereas when I began this journey back home, it told me I had 6 to play with, and it got as low as 1 or 2 as I climbed the hill into Stoke. Not a huge hill, obviously, but just gentle uphill. So it's come back, it's swung back in my favour, let's say. And as I will have now some more minor roads, to more single carriageway roads to cut through to the A1, then it should even swing further in my favour. That's the expectation, and I have 24% in the battery at this point. So we will see how that holds up for me. I've done 235 miles today. It's taken 5 hours 21 minutes to do those 235 miles, and that's an average of 4 miles per kilowatt hour. I think I'm going to need to switch lane here for Kegworth. So there we go. Nobody else going that way, so that's good. So yeah, 4 miles per kilowatt hour, and that's been doing as fast as the speed limits will allow me wherever I can. So on motorways it's been at 70, unless there's been traffic in the way, of course, or unless the motorway has been a restricted limit due to roadworks and that sort of thing, which I haven't come across much of, to be fair. And then the back roads have been at reduced speed, 50 or 60 depending on which road I'm on at the time. So that's how I've been driving. I've not been driving hypermiling or anything like that, and I've had the aircon on auto and 20 degrees, which is the temperature I prefer. So again, not been restricting my energy usage in any way in that respect. And if I change the screen on my car's system to show me how the energy split has been used, then it says I've used 94% of my energy in powering the car forward, so in the motor, 3% for the aircon, and 3% for the other electronics. So that'll be charging my phone, charging my camera at times as well, and things like the sat nav and the brains of the car itself, and driving aids, cruise control, those sorts of things. I do use all the driving aids. I use the intelligent cruise control, which monitors the distance to the car in front, and I also use the lane assist when I'm on the motorways. So if those do take up any power, which is minimal to be fair, but if they do take up any power, then that's being used as well on this journey. So that's my update. We're now cutting through Kegworth to get to the little back roads that I'm going to take via Melton Mowbray and home. And we'll catch up again in a little bit. And I've cut through to the A1. So now we're on the A1 dual carriageway, having cut through Melton Mowbray direction. And we are almost back. I have 22 miles left to do, mostly on the A1. The car is saying I have 33 miles in the battery, so it's giving me 11 miles to spare now. And as a strange coincidence, I'm on 11%. So 11%, 11 to spare, 22 to go. 4.1 miles per kilowatt hour is the average efficiency for today's journey. I don't know if you noticed that Mazda who pulled up alongside me then slowed right down. That was strange. Anyway, I probably didn't catch that on the camera. There was a Mazda kind of small people carrier, came up in the right lane, came up alongside me, and all of a sudden has just slowed right down. I don't know quite why. Hey, there we go. Maybe I think it's a petrol or diesel by the looks of it, it's not an electric car. Maybe they have range anxiety, whereas I have all the stats. So it's taken me 6 hours 22 minutes to get this far, and my sat nav system says I will get home with 1% remaining. And in fact, there's just been a ping. I have dropped to 10%, and it's now told me that my EV battery is low and I should go and charge it. Would I like to find a station? So there are places to charge between here and home. In 15 miles I have some Ionity charge points. Those are an option. Just beyond that, close to where I live, there are some grid serves, and also a similar sort of area there are some Instavolts. So a variety of charge points that I could use if I needed to. And that's the Mazda. It has now sped up again, overtaken me and pulled in front. I have no idea what it was doing a moment earlier. How strange. So I'm going to say okay to my notification for the battery at 10% and ignore it, because I've got 10 miles to spare. I think I can make it. And now there's 22 miles left in the battery and 12 miles remaining to complete. And I'm down to 7%. So we've still got 10 miles to spare. It's changed to 11 miles and 22 now. It's back to 11 to spare. It depends on whether or not you can see the decimal place. So on the sat nav I can see the decimal place, and on the predicted range remaining I can't, so it's difficult to tell whether it's 10 or 11 at times. The car is saying I will get home with 2% remaining, so at least it thinks I'll get home. At least it's not being quite as negative as it was before. I think that's that Mazda again, people carrier. Still trying my hardest not to start hypermiling, not to sit behind lorries and things like that, as you'll hopefully be able to tell on the camera. There's been a few undulations, a few up and downs. We have now got down pretty much from here, I think. So that should help the mileage a little bit. And so I should have 10 miles to spare. That's what it's suggesting, which I think will be about 3%. If the whole battery is 300, then 10% will be 30, 3% or 3.33% would then be 10. I have my Ionity chargers in 4.5 miles, 4.4 miles now. So if I did want to bail out, there's 2 of those available out of the 6. As I say, if I need to go a little bit further and still charge, then there are GridServe charge points now at the Dobbies Garden Centre. Although I've not checked to see if they're open out of hours. You know, the Dobbies Garden Centre did have a barrier in the past. I don't know if they leave that open now. They've got charge points. There are some Instavolt ones nearby as well. 2 different sets, 2 different locations. So those are all options if I decide I need to. But at the moment I'm going to stick with it. I've got 18 miles in the battery and 8.5 miles to go. And it's just told me to consider taking a break, because I've obviously done however many hours of driving and I haven't had a break, so it's now telling me to take a break, which is quite amusing. But no, I'm not going to take a break. Although I could, couldn't I? I could take a break at the Ionity's charge in 3 miles time. And that would be nice and refreshed for the final 4 miles or 5 miles, whatever it is. Down to 6%. I have 7 miles remaining. It's going to be a close one. If I add the miles remaining, the 18 that predicts that the battery still contains, to the 285 that I've done today, that gives me 303. So a little bit short of the 328 that the European WLTP test suggests. But still very good. And considering I've not been doing WLTP conditions, that's quite reasonable. Okay, I'm to 5% now, and it's told me to charge immediately and that power is limited. Don't know what the power is limited to, because I'm still doing 68 miles an hour and overtaking a lorry on a dual carriageway. Range is now 16 miles and I have 6 miles to go. So I still have that 10 to spare. Okay, that's where the Ionity charge points are, just where this becomes the A1M from being the A1. That's where I should have gone if I wanted to charge, or could have gone if I wanted to bail out. But as I've been saying, I'm going to stick with this one. I'm pretty sure I can get all the way. Pretty sure I can do the final 5 miles with my 5%. If I could only do 1 mile for every 1%, then that would only be 100 miles from the battery overall, which, nah, that's not the way. Okay, almost back, got 4% in the battery, which the car equates to 11 miles. I have 2 miles left to complete. So I'm going to call that it. Thank you for joining me. I want to take the film all the way back to my house. So yeah, as I say, thank you for joining me. We'll call that complete. This has been EV Car Share, and I have done 290 miles with 2 miles remaining to go, so 292, 293 actually if you round it up, 293 miles without hypermiling, so going at full speed limits, without turning off my aircon. I have my aircon on all the time at 20 degrees, and without perfect temperature conditions either. It's been around 15, 16, 17 degrees all the way through the journey. So nothing has been perfect ideal. I could do without having to stop at these lights as well, but hey. So there we go. We will call that it, and I'll see you next time.